Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Phay, and welcome to the channel. You know, if I agreed with you, we'd both be wrong. Today, we're taking a look at Heat, Pedal to the Metal. Now, this is from Daniel and Asger. I cannot pronounce those last names. I'm absolutely sorry. I don't want to butcher them, but published by Days of Wonder. Heat, Pedal to the Metal from Days of Wonder is a 1 to 6 player hand management game where you're going to have a deck of cards and you're going to be going through that deck. Okay, you're going to get 7 cards per round and you're going to be playing them based on whatever your speed is. You're using the management of that deck to try to mitigate your heat, to try to strategically advance through your corners, get around your different cars, try to use some slipstreaming. You know, there's quite a bit going on in this game, but it's actually a really simple system. So I'll tell you what, let me explain how to play the game, and then I'll give you my final thoughts. So to play the game, the first thing you have to do is you have to set it up. So to set up the game, what you're going to do is you're going to take whatever track you want, you're going to put it out on the table, all right, lay it down, and that track is going to tell you how many stress cards you're going to get and how many heat cards you're going to get. Take those number of cards and put them off to the side for right now. Okay, then everybody takes a dashboard, a gear shift, and a card. Now let me talk about the dashboard for just a quick second. The dashboard, when you look at it, you're going to see that it has actually a spot for 3 sets of cards. You're going to have your deck on the left, you're going to have your engine, which is going to have all your heat cards in the middle, and then you're going to have your discard pile, which is going to be on the right. On the very right bottom, then that's going to be your shifter. Okay, what gear you're in. Okay, first through fourth. Now the icons on that, basically the number is going to tell you what gear you're in. That's how many cards you're playing per turn. Now on first and second gear, you're going to see the little thermometer with the 1s and the 3s. That's going to be how much heat you can actually discard from your hand back into your engine if you're in that gear for this particular turn. Now you're going to see the little plus, and it's going to have a little 1 with a little heat symbol by it. What that basically means is during every turn, you have an opportunity to do a boost. Okay, you have to pay 1 heat. Whenever you pay heat, you take a heat card from the engine, put it in your discard pile, but then you get to draw a card. If it's a speed card, you're going to move that many more spaces forward, but that's how that works. Okay, so now that we covered that, now we're going to go left to right from the very, very top. Okay, and I'm going to cover those as we're actually playing the game. So steps 1 and 2, okay, those are all mandatory and can be done simultaneously. So what you're doing is you determine what gear you want to be in. All right. You can move up and down as the icon shows 1 gear, and it doesn't cost any heat. But if you want to go up 2 or down 2, you have to pay 1 heat. Okay, because remember, whatever gear you're in is how many cards you have to play. Then, based after you figure out what gear you're going to be in and pay heat if you have to, then you're going to take that number of cards and you can put them face down by your side. Once everybody's done, now we're going to go to player number 1 or whoever's in the lead. Okay, so whoever's in the lead, what they're going to do is they're going to turn over their cards, and they're going to add up the totals on their cards, and they're going to move that many spaces forward. All right. Now, if you played a stress card or it has a little plus up on it, okay, then what you're going to do is you're going to draw cards from your draw pile until you get a card that's a speed card that has a little speed symbol in the middle. The 0 and the 5 will not count. You can't use stress and you can't use heat. Okay. And you're going to add that number to your movement, and you're going to go that many spaces. All right. That's it. You're done. Now, step number 4 is if you're in last place or in a 6-player game, if you're in 5th or 6th place, then you're going to be able to do those. And basically what that says is you're going to get a +1 movement and you're going to get a bonus cooldown. The +1 movement just moves your car 1 more space forward, which will count towards cornering, but we'll cover that in a minute. The cooldown basically means you'll be able to take a heat card from your engine, put it in, or your hand, and put it into your engine. It's kind of a catch-up mechanic. Let's go to step 5. Step 5 is going to allow you to be able to do a couple different things. That's where you're going to pay any heat that you have to pay for, like any boosting or anything like that, boost if you want. And that's also where you're going to do your cooldown. Okay, so your cooldown is, like I said, take a heat card from your hand, put it in your engine. The next one's slipstreaming. If you end directly behind or right beside somebody, you get a slipstream. Okay, now slipstreaming means you're going to move 2 more spaces, and you can't end behind somebody else and then slipstream again. You can't double slipstream. Okay, not in the base game. All right, but you get that slipstream bonus. Now, slipstream doesn't count towards your cornering, which we're going to just about there. We're going to cover that right about now. Okay, The next thing is you're going to look at the corner. Now, every corner on the game is going to have a number, okay, that's going to be in a circle. And now, if you exceed that number, you have to pay 1 heat for every point you exceeded it. So, say it's a 4 corner and you went 6 spaces, you've passed the corner, you have to pay 2 heat, which means you're going to take heat from your engine, you're going to put it in the discard pile. If you cannot take all the heat, then what you do is put all the heat from your engine, put it on your discard pile, bring your car all the way back to the other side of the line, and you have to go through the corner one more time. You've wiped out, and now put your shifter all the way down into first gear, and your turn is done. Okay, except for this last part. The last part basically is you're going to discard all the cards that you played. Now, what it is you also have a hand. You're going to be drawn up to a hand of 7, but you can discard some cards that you don't want. Now, stress cards and heat cards, you'll notice they have a little trash can with a little line through it. You cannot discard those, but you can discard other number cards if you want to. Then draw back up to 7, and then it's time for the next player to go. Okay, and you're going to keep on going down the line until everyone's done. Now, how this is going to basically work is everyone's going to take their turn, and you're going to notice that on the track there's a solid line that's going to be on the inside of the track. Okay, and it's going to bounce back and forth the track. So if you're the first person to get to that spot, you're leading if there's 2 of you in that same location. Okay, so when you go down to determine who's next, it's whoever is on that preferred line. Okay, but you're just going to keep going round and around, playing your cards. Once everything's done, you're going to reset, and then you're going to go again. Now, the winner of the game is going to be whoever can complete the necessary number of laps, and you're in first place. You are going to win heat, pedal to the metal. But I want to talk about some of the advanced stuff really fast, because like I said, that was the very basic part of the game, and there's so much more to this game. Okay, now, just to make sure I got everything, let me grab my book. Okay, so there's some modules you're going to be able to add to this game, and you're going to find that these modules are really easy to incorporate. So first off, there's the garage module. Now the garage module, what that's going to do is that's going to allow you to take your 3 basic upgrade cards that you have, which one's a heat, one's a 0 speed, and one's a 5 speed, and you're going to put those off the side. They will not be used. Now, based on the number of players that are in the game, you're going to take all the garage cards, you're going to shuffle them up, and you're going to draw 3 cards per player plus 3. Okay, and now we're going to do a drafting. So the first round of drafting is going to be based on whoever is in last place going to the first place. Okay, you're going to be able to pick which card you want. Then the second round is from first place to last place, and then from third place and up. Okay, and that's going to be your deck. And now you're going to shuffle those up, and you're going to notice you're going to have a whole bunch more icons. You're going to do a lot more stuff. Okay, now the very back of the book is going to have a list of all the mandatory or the symbols and all the icons and what they do. I'm going to leave those for you to figure out, so we don't have to go through every single one of those. Okay, but that's it. That's your card. Now, my favorite module. Well, I do like the garage module, but one of my favorite modules is the Legends module. The Legends module now allows you to be able to fill out the track with all of the cars. All 6 cars are always going to be on the track. So if you want to play solo, it's you against 5 cards. Basically, what you're doing for that is you're randomly putting out all the cars, okay, that are there, and you're going to have a deck of 10 cards. You shuffle those up really, really good, okay, and you got a board, and you're going to put the cards on that particular board. Now, what's going to happen as soon as you're playing the turn like normal, all right? But as soon as it comes to one of the Legends cars, all right? So say you're in first place, you're going to take your turn like normal. Once your turn is complete, you go to Legends card. Now what you're going to do is you're going to flip up that Legend card, and you're going to see what every car is going to do in the turn. If the Legends cards are in the lead and you're somewhere in the middle or the back, well, then you're going to know what it is before we even get to you, okay? Now, how this works is you're going to notice that every corner is going to have a line before it, and it's going to have these little symbols, 0, 1, 2, 3, what is it, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, I think, going up right by the corner. Now, if the Legend car has not passed that line, then you go look at the helmet for the color of that car, and you're going to look at that number, and you're going to see, can that car travel that many spaces and not cross the corner? If it can, that's how far it moves. If that number crosses the corner, then you're just going to look at the symbol up on the top, okay, and you're going to move the car over to that location and put it to the mandatory line or the inside, and it'll go to the outside if there's already a car there. And you're going to do that for every single one of the cars. Now, if the car happens to be on the inside of that Legend line, then what you're going to do is you're going to look at the speed of the corner, and then you're going to look at that little number that's up on the top above his helmet. You're going to add the 2 together, and that's how many spaces they go forward. For the most part, it's usually going to get them through the corner. Sometimes it don't. If it doesn't get them through the corner, next turn, they're going to have to do that same thing, and they'll have to do that corner again. But you're basically going through all of the cars, and that's it, okay? You just whip them all out really fast, figure out where they're going to go, and then start another round, okay? The next one is the weather and road conditions module. Now, the weather and road conditions, there's a stack of weather tokens, and what you're going to do is you're going to put one down on the board, and that's going to a lot of times maybe adjust how much heat you have, how much stress you have, or something else. But it's also going to give you a symbol, okay? And that symbol is going to be based on one of the weather tokens for the track that may be out there. Then you're going to take all the small little square tokens, you're going to shuffle them all up, and you're going to put one in every single corner, face down. Once that's done, then you're going to just start with any one of the corners, flip it up, and you're going to notice it's either going to be just a regular symbol or it's going to have like two circles with a line through it. If it does, you're going to move it along the track and you're going to put it between. Okay, so basically, and you can do that for every corner. And what that basically means is either the corner is going to have a modification to it, or the straightaway after the corner is going to have a modification to it, but not both. Okay, but you can't go into a modified straight into a modified corner. You're just not going to go into a modified corner and a modified straight, if that makes sense. Okay, and what those are going to do is those are going to change things up. You're going to get maybe an extra slipstream, or you can't slipstream, or maybe it costs an extra heat if you overrun a corner, or it's going to take a corner down or up one based on what it was. Okay, just a few different fun effects that you're going to be able to have for that. Very fun. Absolutely love that module, and I'll never play without those. Absolutely mandatory for me. And the last one's the championship system. So the championship system, I'm going to basically leave that one for you on your own, but you're going to have this list of 4 cards. It's going to basically, or 3 cards even, it's going to tell you what tracks you're going to run on. It's going to have sponsorship cards you're going to be able to add in. It's going to have a press corner. It's going to be able to allow you to get additional cards. Of course, you're using your road conditions and stuff like that. But it's basically how you're going to play a series of 3 or 4 different races, and then you're getting points based on whoever finishes in what place. You're adding up your points, and then you're looking to see whoever has the most points, and whoever has the most points will win the championship. Okay, but basically, that's more or less it. Okay, whether you're playing the advanced mode or whether you're playing the basic mode, doesn't really matter. Whoever crosses the finish line first and the furthest wins heat. Pedal to the metal. Okay, folks, the explanation there was a little longer than I really wanted to, but I wanted to get that basic mode in, and I also wanted to talk about that advanced mode because my final thoughts are really going to be mostly about the advanced mode, not the basic mode. Okay, the basic mode is great if you want to try to teach someone that's really not into board gaming how to play board games, okay, or someone that maybe doesn't understand or board games as well, or maybe even someone that's younger and you just kind of want to introduce them to the game. Okay, usually when I play the basic mode, if I ever have to play with anybody, I'm doing a single lap. That's it. And a lot of times when I do the basic mode, I do a half a lap. Once they actually understand how the game plays and everything else, a lot of times they're like, is there more? Okay. Is there more to the game than just this? Because this is just play a couple cards and run, play a couple cards and run. You're not doing anything special. Everybody's deck's exactly the same. Okay. But you need to get the basic out of there or an understanding in order to know about the advanced. Okay, so what do I think about the advanced and what do I think about Heat? Now, Heat is a fantastic game. I absolutely love this game. Okay, I love racing games. They're some of my favorite games. I have tons of them. I'm trying to get a bunch of them up for review right now. But let me cover the things I like about this game, and let me cover the things that I don't like about this game, which I'm really not finding any. All right, this is an all-like game for me. Okay, now the garage module. I will always play with the garage module whenever I can. If I am just running a track just to kind of play it real fast, then I'm usually doing the weather and stuff like that. And I'll skip the garage module, okay? Because I just want to see how the new stuff works, okay? If the track has any new elements. So, but if I'm actually playing a race with other people, or if I am playing a solo championship series and I got the legends in there, then I am playing that garage module. I am upgrading my car. You know what? Just having an extra heat in my hand that kind of does nothing that I want to try to get rid of. Having a 0, that 0 card does come in handy quite a bit for me. But having that 5, that comes in handy as well. But being able to get these other cards that may have those but other symbols with them is so much better. I mean, because you have your wings, which are going to be able to allow you to do a bunch of extra stuff. Your gas pedal, which is going to allow you to react more quickly. There's just so much going on, okay? And you got your suspension cards, you got your body cards. Just every card is going to be doing something different, all right? You have a list of different icons that every card is going to have. So you're going to do the number, add it to whatever you're doing, and you're doing whatever the ability is, okay? being able to have those extra abilities, that's what's going to make or break you. That's what's going to separate your car from the next car, and that's what's going to make you unique. If every car is perfectly identical out there, then it's just a matter of who basically gets the lucky draw. Okay, hey, the cards came out perfect for me to make this corner. They didn't come out perfect for you. Now you're a turn behind or something along those lines. Okay, but that's just how it rolls. I love the garage module and I love the cards that are in that. Now, there's two different types of garage module cards. There's your basic ones, which they recommend playing with first, and then there's your more advanced ones. Okay, they have a little symbol on the bottom of the card tell you which ones are which. Okay, I actually have found that there's not a whole lot of difference between them. If you understand the game, just shuffle them all together and play. You're gonna not have any problems whatsoever. Okay, now the Legends module. The Legends is probably my favorite module in this. And the reason it is, okay, because I like the other stuff, but the reason the Legends module is my favorite is because every time I play this game, the track is full. I never play a 3-player game with only 3 cars. I play a 3-player game with all of the cars. 6 cars are on this map. Okay, they're on the board because you can do that. There is no reason not to do that. And the reason you want to do that is because the cars are going to block corners. Okay, if you get 2 cars side by side and that's the space you're going to end, well, you back up one. Okay, because that's where you now have to stop. All right, if you go to slipstream and you can't move that second space, well, you can't slipstream, or you're moving in. Okay, so that's what they do. They block, and that's what racing is. Racing is all about blocking. Okay, if you're in those lead cars or you're playing as a team, okay, you want to try to block that back guy as much as you can. You don't want to let him just go flying by you. So if you can block somebody, that's what you want to do. And that's what the Legends does. The Legends gets more cars out there, so more blocking is going to happen, and it just really changes things up. So if you're, like in 3rd or 4th place, and you're trying to figure out what cards you got to play, well, you got to take into consideration there's 4 cars that are going to go ahead of you. Where are those cars going to be? Okay, where do you think they're going to be based on how they've been running? So maybe you might say, oh, well, I kind of want to get right up to the edge of the corner, but you know what? It may be gone. Okay, so if you get all the way up, your car is going to get you all the way up there, but that spot's not available and you have to back up one. Well, you're not going to be able to slipstream now because you had to brake basically in order to get to where you're going to go. Okay. Absolutely love the Legends module. That Legends module is so good. So good. Okay. The other one, which is really good, and it's probably my 3rd favorite of the modules, is going to be the row conditions. Now, I will always play with the row conditions. And the reason I say this is my 3rd favorite is for one of a couple things. I find that when you put the tile down that basically says, okay, here's what the weather is. This is how you're going to modify your stress deck. This is how you're going to modify your heat. Okay. But then you're looking at the other little symbol that shows up. And that symbol is based on another token that could or could not be on the board. Okay. So there's one token, one or maybe there's 2 of them, but if it shows up on the board and it shows, hey, this, whatever this is equals to whatever the weather token is, okay, then you're going to be able to do that. Sometimes it's not there. But that's okay. But the rest of them, you're putting the tokens on the board. Now, I find the corner tokens always come into play. Okay, every time you have a token in that corner, plus or minus your heat, that's always a factor. Plus or minus speed of the corner. Is it going to make a 4 or 5 or a 4 or 3 or however it's going to work? That's always a factor. But I find that the straightaway ones don't usually factor in nearly as much. They do, but not like the corner ones. Okay, and that's the reason I have that module down just a little bit more, because one, the weather icon, that one may not come into play, depends on what your corner ones are, and then the straightaway ones, they may not come into play as well. I mean, I've sometimes had slipstream ones show up, in areas that you almost never can slipstream in. Okay, now the beautiful thing about slipstreaming is if you can slipstream through a corner, you don't have to count those 2 spaces towards how much you moved. You only count whatever was on the card. Okay, or the +1 if you had your adrenaline boost. All right, so that's the beautiful thing about slipstreaming. If you have the cards to get you through a corner and you can slipstream through that corner, do it, because you're just one step ahead of the game. So slipstreaming can come into play on those shorter areas if you get lucky and it gets utilized right. Okay, but otherwise the row conditions, absolutely wonderful. And then the championship system, you know what? That's just the icing on the cake for me. Okay, that's the cherry on the sundae. A lot of times when I sit down to play this game, sometimes I only want to play 1 or 2 races. That's all I want to play. Okay, or it's like I got a free hour. I'm just going to play a race. I want something I can play, and I want to play a race car game. This is a lot of times what I'm going to pull out. But that championship series is going to take up a little more time because you're going to play 3 or 4 races. All right, And it's really cool the fact that if I have the time and I can sit down, I can play those, or sometimes I'll spread it out over 2 days. It is so much fun because you're filling out your board. You're trying to, how many points is everybody going to be getting based on their positions they had on the previous race? Where are they starting? And then at the very end, where do you finish up on your points track? I absolutely love it. To me, the championship system isn't really a module; it's just another way of play, which is why I'm not really ranking that as far as the modules go. Okay, but otherwise, that's it. Okay, Heat Pedal to the Metal. It's one of my favorite race car games. It's probably it might be my favorite solo game. I got to figure out where it's going to land in there and overall for all my racing games. But I'll tell you what, it's really high. I love the hand management system. Trying to figure out, when do you play those stress cards from your hand? When do you play those high level cards at the end of the phase when you're discarding cards? Do I want to discard some of these to hopefully get something else? If you have a handful of 3 or 4 stress cards, sometimes you're like, you know what? I'm moving 3. I'm playing 3 stress cards and I'm taking my chances because I know I'm not going to blow through a corner or something like that. Then you get bad numbers that come up and you don't go very far. I mean, it's a crapshoot every time you play it, but it's just so much fun. Every time I put this to the table, whether I'm playing it solo, I have a lot of fun. If I'm playing this with a group, we're always laughing. It's, because something bad's happening, someone's spinning out, or you take someone's line and you're messing somebody up. It's just a good time every single time we play it. Heat, Pedal to the Metal. I cannot recommend this game enough. Well, thank you once again for joining me today. As always, I please ask you to like this video on YouTube, Board Game Geek, Facebook, or even on X. Please leave me a comment on any one of those platforms, and I'll get to those comments just as soon as I can. And also, folks, if you like the videos I do here, if you haven't done so already, I humbly ask you to click on that subscription button, even click on that bell and be notified when I drop new videos. And if you like the videos I do here, I also post videos over on the Discriminating Gamers channel. Over there, we'll do some unboxings, playthroughs, and reviews. I'll leave a link to Cody's channel down in the details below. We never really grow up. We only learn how to act in public.